We did hear yesterday that Liverpool, Beth, had finally made their offer for Alexander Isak. What's the latest today?
Yeah, so it was a big day yesterday.
Are you called Beth, Don?
Have you changed your name, Don?
Sorry,
Don.
Go back. Go back on vacation, Don.
I
do apologise, Beth.
No worries at all. Yeah, it was a big day yesterday. Obviously, the interest from Liverpool in Alexander Isak has been ongoing for a really long time now. It feels like it's been a drawn out saga already, and I'm sure we've still got a lot of that left to play. But Liverpool made their first official bid for him yesterday. We believe it was around 110 million as an upfront fee. Newcastle obviously have been quite firm all summer that the price for Alexander Isak, if they were to sell him, would be around the 150 million mark. Obviously, Liverpool bidding well below that, so it was always going to be rejected, that offer, and Liverpool will have known that. They will have gone into that knowing that bid will have been turned down. And then we started hearing reports later on in the evening about Liverpool's stance changing in the face of that rejection, and then potentially walking away from a deal that they're not planning, as things stand, to make a second bid for Alexander Isak. However, the reading between the lines there, as much as Liverpool aren't planning to bid straight away to make a second bid, there's every chance that I think if Newcastle are able to get a replacement in, which I know we'll go on to talk about with Benjamin Sesko, but if they're able to get that over the line, that could open the door then for Liverpool to re-enter negotiations and bid again. But as things stand, the bid has been rejected, and Liverpool for the time being are just sort of monitoring things from afar.
Oh, Don, you know what? We took a look at the last show you were on, and things have really changed. Ekitike was linked to Newcastle. Back then, Newcastle were really running on a high, obviously. They won their first cup in forever. They've made the Champions League. Everything's looking great. Now, Isak wants to leave. Ekitike's gone to Liverpool. It's all come crashing down, Don.
Liverpool have absolutely butchered Newcastle's summer, because I sat here 3 weeks ago and I thought, really optimistically, I thought Newcastle could push and challenge the top three because Isak hadn't been tapped up at the time or reportedly to leave. They put a bid in for Ekitike, who I think is a fantastic young player. And I thought with the midfield that they've got and the debates that me and Steve and Ali have had over the best midfield or one of the best midfield in the country, very solid at the back. I thought Champions League football, winning their trophy last season. I thought this summer was the one where if Ekitike had went to Newcastle, Newcastle could have been looking to challenge the top three, win another major trophy, and all of a sudden kick on and be a regular in the top four. Now, all of a sudden, Liverpool have come in and Ekitike is gone. I don't think it'll be the last bid. I really don't for Alexander Isak. The journalists up in Newcastle seem to think the 110, which I think is embarrassing from Liverpool's point of view, because the number's going to be closer to 140, 150. So I've got no idea why Liverpool have gone in at 110, because they know they're going to get knocked back, which is going to upset Newcastle. I listened to Eddie Howe's interview today, and he's the one I feel sorry for the most, because he's on pre-season tour trying to organise a team and try to organise a group of players to try and get minutes to prepare for a first Premier League game in about 2 weeks' time. Newcastle fans I've spoke to sort of want him gone. If he's going to go out like this and this is the way he's going to go, they'll want him gone, and in 5 years' time they'll forget his name, because there's a reason why they still sing for Kevin Keegan and Alan Shearer, Jackie Milburn, Andy Cole, Peter Beardsley, etc. So it's all become a little bit messy, but I don't think this is the end of it.
Yeah, it sounds as though the answer might have already been told to us here by Don. When I'm going to ask you next, Don, you played for Liverpool, but obviously you're a Newcastle fan, you're from the region. What should Isak do?
Yeah.
What do you want him to do?
If he wants to move, let him go?
What do you want him to do with your heart?
Do you know what? I'd love him to stay, because that might be the case. I think the rumours are that he returned back to Newcastle up on Tyneside today to report back for training for Monday morning. So if Liverpool lowball Newcastle at 110, then he ain't going to go, because Newcastle have got the power. He's got 3 years left on his contract, so they can actually say to him, you are staying. Then it's a test of the player's character. Are you going to down tools? Are you going to get yourself ready for the first day of the Premier League? Which I'm pretty sure 99% professionals would do. It'll be a blow for him, and he'll have the and he'll be moody for a few days. But once the saga ends, and if Liverpool's stance is we're not going any higher or any closer to 150, Newcastle have got all the money in the world and all the power on the player's contract to say, well, we're not going to sell you, so you've got to get your head down and play. Now, that might change in 6 months' time or a year's time, but as it stands, it's actually 50-50 whether he stays or really goes, because it's all down to Liverpool's bid. Beth's correct in saying if Newcastle get replacements in, they might then, You know, I think if Newcastle got 2 players in, there's good number 9s out there. There's guys like Ollie Watkins or Guirassy at a different age profile, I would imagine, at 29. But there's players like Wissa, there's players like Sesko. If they get 2 players in for the Alexander Isak money, I think Newcastle are in a good position all of a sudden.
Do you think it's shocking to see Don turn his back on Liverpool like this?
To be honest, I'm trying to figure out where he's going with the Watkins, Wissa, these types of players. That's not the type of player that's going to get Newcastle either anywhere close to the top 3 or fighting for Champions League every season. I mean, it's just not, Don. They have to get a bona fide player in like Sesko. After that, they're just filling a hole.
Yeah.
And so if they're filling a hole, it's one thing to have 150 million in your pocket, but if you're going to try and fill a hole for 12 months and let Isak go, if they do get offered 140, say, that ain't taking them. That doesn't guarantee them top 4. So they're not going to win.
Don't forget they lost Callum Wilson as well, Stevie.
Yeah, they got nobody.
Don't forget they lost Callum Wilson as well. So as it stands, Newcastle, if Alexander Isak goes, they haven't even got a number 9.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to replace 2 players.
But listen, if you're going to go and get, Don, honestly, if you're going to go and get Wissa and Ollie Watkins, all you're doing is plugging a hole. You are not taking a step forward.
Yeah.
You're taking a step back. And Newcastle can't do that.
No, correct. Correct. What I meant was Benjamin Sesko is the one that they want. They've bid about 70 million for him, but I think they need another one. And if you get Sesko in and it's Ollie Watkins or a Wissa, which I think Newcastle are interested in because he's not training with Brentford. I think he's been away for a couple of days. I heard their manager talk today that that's a messy situation as well. So it's all becoming a little bit of a really messy situation that we're seeing at a lot of clubs, which we've not seen this for a number of years. Transfers are normally quite hard and quite complex, but they normally get done. We've seen a couple of players now in Wissa and Alexander Isak who are not even training at their clubs.
Yeah, let's talk about Alexander Isak's location because Eddie Howe is keeping up with that on social media, it would appear. Don spoke about hearing what Eddie Howe had to say about the whole situation. He said, yeah, I know where he is, really, through the media. So I think from that perspective, it's difficult for me to go into any kind of detail. The situation is far from ideal and it's quite complex. So I think that's all I've got to say. Stevie, as a coach, do you not have these conversations with a player when they're want away? Is there not a direct line to them?
You know, for Eddie Howe, it's a real tough situation because he doesn't know which way this is going to go. And what does he do? Does he try and do the strong arm tactics on Isak? Does he sit him down and go, I don't care how much they offer. You've got 3 years on your deal. We need you. Maybe we can do this in 12 months' time. Or does he try and play well, it's really not up to me 100%. It's up to the board. And that way he's trying to keep him on his side so that if things don't work out for Isak, at least Isak maybe can play for him. So Eddie Howe's in a kind of a no-win situation. He really doesn't know which way to turn. And if I was Eddie Howe, I would try and push this all onto the board so that regardless of the outcome, he's not getting tired with anything.
Yeah, and while it is a really difficult position to be in as a manager, that you don't know whether your superstar is going to be part of the team or not, and how you're going to address his absence, all the while you're trying to prepare the team for the season. Yeah. I understand it. It's an uncomfortable position. But you shouldn't be finding out where your superstar player is through the media. There are devices, they're called cell phones, that you can utilize to just directly call the player just to maintain an open dialogue and a conversation. Hey, Alexander, I'm just checking up on you. How you doing? How's it going? I know things can go either way, whatever the case may be, but what are you doing to stay fit? What are you doing to stay prepared? And if indeed you end up staying here in Newcastle, we'll welcome you and we'll be ready to go whenever we come back from this tour. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that.
Yeah, that's good. The problem is, Ali, that's good theory.
Okay.
And that would be the adult thing to do and the sensible thing to do.
Okay.
But it doesn't, I don't think that's the way it turns out. You know, I know it's completely different, but, you know, dealing with a situation I had with Shaori, it's awkward because he doesn't want to talk to you. He wants nothing, the player wants nothing to do with it. He wants his agent to take all the flack, have all the conversations. The player really wants to, although he wants you to know that he wants to go, He wants to leave it up to his people to sort it out. He doesn't want to be sitting on the phone all the time and in the firing line with the manager and the board and everybody else. And probably that's why he's taken his cell away back to Sociedad to train, to get himself out the road and let his agents and his people and the club deal with it. So it's a really tricky situation.
I understand it. Fine. You don't want to have a conversation. You don't want to be adults about it. Send a text message. Look, I think there are ways in which you maintain a dialogue that doesn't have to do anything with the contract negotiation or the demands of the player. It's far more about, listen, if you're going to be here, we just need you to be ready to go. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And in having that open dialogue, I think if you're Eddie Howe, you get a better understanding from where Alexander Isak is coming from. And you can potentially relate to the player and the player can relate to you. I don't think this can be left to, well, I'm just finding out like everybody else through the media. There's got to be more to this than just finding out like all of us are finding out what the future is for Alexander Isak if you're the manager of Newcastle.
Where do you stand on it, Don?
Well, I think Stevie's pretty much nailed it. I mean, Eddie Howe, I would imagine, has phoned Alexander Isak, and he probably has sent him a text. He's probably sent him loads and probably phoned him 4 or 5 times. But some players haven't got the bottle to pick up the phone. If they don't want to deal with it, Stevie's nailed it. Sometimes you push it onto your agent. I just think he's got to have the conversation as a player and do the right thing. And if you want to leave, you know, go and put a transfer request in. Go and see how much you really want to leave Newcastle by putting a written transfer request in and give up all your 3 years' money. That's a test. Now, go and do that if you really want to push through a move to Liverpool. But as I said, Liverpool have lowballed Newcastle. We're 110 million. Liverpool know the asking price. It's 150 or very close to it. So going in at 110 is a terrible bid because it puts the player in no man's land. He can't then sort of half force through a move because Liverpool are £40 million short. So they'll go in again. And the next bid will be in and around sort of 125, 130. So I mean, Alexander Isak wants to go, right? So we all know that he wants to go to Liverpool. And if he wants to go to a Champions League team and try and win the title and win the Champions League, good luck to him. All players have a short shelf life. If you want to go and make that move, go and make the move, but do it properly. Newcastle have given you a really good contract. They've put him on really high wages. He's done right for Newcastle, don't get me wrong. They've looked after him. They've made sure they've turned him into a Champions League footballer and one of the best number 9s out there. That's why Liverpool want to sign him. But I just think from the player's point of view, go and do the right thing. Just listen to Eddie Howe. Pick up the phone, even if you say, listen, boss, like, I haven't really got much to say. I want to move. But at least have the courtesy and the respect to speak to your manager. I don't get the point in blanking him. It's just a coward's move if you're not going to answer a phone call to your gaffer.
Don has got it at like 50-50, Beth, whether Alexander Isak stays or goes. How would you divvy it up?
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with that. I think so much is dependent on who Newcastle are able to bring in. We know they've been unsuccessful with landing a couple of targets. We know that Hugo Ekitike, who obviously is now at Liverpool, was one of those targets. So, you know, had Liverpool not moved for him, we could be in a very different position now. Newcastle might actually be in a position where they could have turned around and said, you know what, we can agree to move on Alexander Isak. So I think so much depends on who Newcastle are able to bring in, and also on the player. You know, as Don said, we're talking about him coming back to training this week, but if he turns up on Monday and hands in an official transfer request, then again, does that alter Newcastle's stance at all? You know, it all depends on how willing the player is to stay at Newcastle if a fee can't be agreed. So I think it will very much depend on a number of different variables. What I will say is that Liverpool, despite having that opening bid rejected, still remain very, very interested in the player. He seems to be sort of set on Liverpool as his destination. And you know, I agree with what the guys are saying. If you're a fan of Newcastle at the moment, it's so disappointing to see a player who you have looked up to as a hero behaving in this way. But it's a similar situation with Visser at Brentford. You know, he's been given an opportunity to move on to a club that can help his personal ambitions, and he's now not training for Brentford. And then the same thing's happening, obviously, at Newcastle with Isak. So, unfortunately, it's sort of the food chain, I guess, and the way that things work. And as much as that's unpleasant for fans at times, that is the game that we're in, and players now do have that power, rightly or wrongly, to be able to influence these moves. So I think how Isak goes about things over the next week will very much determine how this one plays out going forward.
There is a rumour out there, Beth, that Jurgen Klopp head of global operations at Red Bull, has spoken to Benjamin Sesko and said that he should go to Newcastle. And everybody's saying, well, that would be very smart because then Alexander Isak will be free to go to Liverpool and Manchester United, the big rival, will miss out on Benjamin Sesko. Can you confirm or deny these reports, Beth?
I've not had that verified by anybody. I think it makes a nice story, you've got to say, haven't you? Jurgen Klopp potentially influencing and helping Liverpool on that side of things. And I'm sure that if he was inclined to do that, he would. But no, I think there'll be way more factors at play there with Benjamin Sesko's potential move to the Premier League. I mean, you look at it from an outsider's perspective and you think Newcastle, from a footballing perspective, makes more sense. You know, as a project, they're in a much better place than Manchester United are at the moment. But then Manchester United, and regardless of where they finish in the table, they're still a huge institution who can, you know, first of all, pay a lot of money, but also, you know, you never quite know what they're going to do and what they're going to be capable of. And even if they're in the worst times, that, you know, they're still capable of winning trophies. We've seen that over the past couple of seasons. So I think very much it will come down to what the player wants to do there. We've seen Newcastle have a bid rejected earlier on today, so it depends whether they will, you know, feel that they can go higher than that and go back in, and whether United can match that as well.
Let me go there. A bid rejected today. That offer said to not meet evaluations for Benjamin Sesko. Do you like the conspiracy theory era that I'm bringing to the show here today, Ali Moreno?
We just spent 15 minutes or so, the latest 15 minutes or so, having this conversation with Alexander Isak and whether he's coming, he's going, Liverpool, the bid. And we have been doing that for at least, I don't know, the last 3 weeks, it seems like. And somehow magically this came out of nowhere, and it's like, the guy who holds all the cards and has the magnificent idea is Jurgen Klopp, who is going to make it clear for everybody, and somehow is going to make the situation work, and all the pieces are going to fit together because of Benjamin Sesko. If it's difficult to do one deal, imagine trying to pull off 2 deals at the same time. Look, it would seem to make all perfect sense, and all parties would be excited other than Manchester United. As a side note, I would say this. We have spent far too much time talking about Benjamin Sesko. He's a good player, but not good enough for us to continue to do this time and time again, day after day after day. And the fans that think that Benjamin Sesko is the answer for your team, beware. He can score great goals, but he doesn't do that consistently. And if you're putting side by side Isak and Sesko, they're not the same sort of player, and they do not have the same level of productivity. Isak is at a higher level than Benjamin Sesko. And so I would be very careful in saying that somehow these 2 players are equal to each other.
Does it not tell you where Man United are, though, really? Kind of tells you where they are.
Oh, you're getting a little digging at Manchester United here as well, I see.
Listen, whether Klopp said supposedly what he said to him or not, if you're Sesko, surely you're looking at what happened to Alexander Isak in Newcastle and thinking, hold on a second, if I go to Newcastle, there's a possibility that the same thing will happen to me that happened to Isak. I will turn into a world-class player, and I'll be worth twice what I'm worth right now, as opposed to going to Manchester United, who are going to sign a guy who, as Ali says, is far from the finished article, but who is going to have to produce right away. And he's going into a team that are going to be questionable whether they can supply you enough to make you what Newcastle might turn you into. So if you're Sesko, why would you go to Man United over Newcastle? I guess the other thing it tells you is that Manchester United are hanging on to that thread of being one of the giants in football. But if they continue to finish 16th or 15th or whatever it is, even that will disappear.
My apologies, Ali, because I do have one more point on Sesko, and then we'll put it to bed, okay?
No, look, we can keep talking about Sesko.
He hates Sesko.
No,
I want to know what Don thinks about Sesko and whether he'd be happy for him to come to Newcastle.
I mean, breaking news from Ali Moreno. Benjamin Sesko is not as good as Alexander Isak. Breaking news. Dear me, Ali. I'd
Breaking
welcome
news,
him
you
'cause
got
I
a
think he's
beautiful
got
tan.
potential.
Good Lord.
He's not Isak. That's why Isak's £150 million, because he's a complete number 9. He's an all-rounder. You know, Sesko's raw. He's super quick. He wants balls placed down the side. He's a completely different player. That's why I said before at the top of the show where Newcastle need another one. They can't just rely on Sesko getting the types of goals into his 25s, 26s that Isak got. He hasn't hit really, or won't hit them in the Premier League, I wouldn't imagine, in his first season. So Newcastle need an Ollie Watkins. They need a Wissa. They need someone alongside him. But I think he'd be a great signing. I like how he plays. He's not a world beater, not yet, but he's got time on his side. He can learn. Eddie Howe is a coach that we've seen over the years, is very, very good at developing young players. So I think Newcastle would welcome the signing. As I said before, it's just this merry-go-round of if Isak goes, then they'll probably get Sesko. If he wants to go to United, he might, as in Man United, he might get a little bit lost in what they're trying to do. Going into Newcastle, they guarantee him this season anyway, Champions League football. So why would you not make that move to Newcastle?
Best case scenario for Newcastle, and those Newcastle fans that right now are personally hurt by Alexander Isak, would be for Alexander Isak to stay at Newcastle. That would be the best news for Newcastle fans, not Benjamin Sesko coming in.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out, won't we? ESPN FC is presented by Xfinity. The Wi-Fi is booming. Heung-min Song is leaving Spurs. He has announced that he will be leaving, and here is what he had to say in his press conference on the subject.
Before we start the press conference, I just want to share the information that I decided to leave this club in this summer. So, and yeah, respectfully, it's a club and it's helping me to my decision. So, I just want to share this information before we start the press conference. It was the most difficult decision I made in my football career. So, I've been here 10 years in a beautiful club and beautiful fans, and having such amazing memories, and after that, leaving this club, I think it was just so hard to make that decision. But as I said, I just felt like I need a new environment to push myself and to get more of me. I think I just need a little bit of change. I mean, 10 years is a lot of time when we're thinking about it. So, and I came to North London as a kid, 23 years old, very young age. Young boy came to London who even didn't speak English. So, and leaving this club as a grown man is a very, very proud moment. So I just want to say thank you all of the Spurs fans that gave me so much love, and felt like it was my home. So, but it was one of the toughest decisions I ever made.
Don Hutchison still with us. Let me start with you though, Stevie, on this news with Son leaving. He's done so on a high. We talk about players leaving when they're at the top of their game with the club that they've been at. He's delivered silverware there for them. What do you think of what he's had to say here?
No, I think it's great what he's done, coming out and telling everybody and letting everybody know. And, you know, if you had a choice as a football player, you go out having won a European trophy. I mean, he's lucky that he's had that decision to make, and his last game he ever played for Spurs, he's won a trophy. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. But the truth of the matter is, he's no different than the rest of us, and eventually, you know, your legs don't carry you around as quick as you used to. And there's no doubt the last season he struggled a little in that department. I think he's done the right thing. He's moving at the right time for him and for Spurs, and he's going to go to MLS, and he's going to be one of the best players on his team and in the league. And I think he's done the right thing. You know, if he stayed another year, I don't think he would play as much as he would hope. And in some ways, that would take away from the great things or the great 10 years he's had. So I think he's moving at the right time. He's going to be a star over here in MLS. And as you started with, if your last game, if anybody got the choice that your last game would be a cup final and you won, you couldn't choose any better.
He leaves quite the legacy at Spurs, doesn't he, Don?
Do you know what? We've just spent about 15, 20 minutes talking about Wissa not training at Brentford and Isak not training at Newcastle. This guy is the perfect professional. Absolutely perfection. He wouldn't cost a manager a minute's problems, I would imagine, at any given time. He mentioned there he came to North London, couldn't speak English, so it would have been hard for him. He'd done his national service, I think, in and around COVID time as well. I think Jurgen Klopp got asked the question about which players did you miss out on that you could see playing for Liverpool, and he actually said Son. So when you look at what he's done over 300 games, being a perfect professional, being an ambassador, a role model for lots of young players, not just in the Premier League, for all around the world, I think he leaves as an absolute Tottenham legend. I think he's just perfection.
On to LAFC, do you like it?
Yeah, I think so. I think LAFC is one of the more recognizable, if not one of the newer brands in MLS, but also one of the more recognizable brands in Major League Soccer. And I think he brings still a player with a lot of quality, a lot of experience, a lot of success. There is a large Korean population in LA as well, so it would address that as well. Not that LAFC is struggling with fans because they pack that stadium all the time, but it's just, it gives LAFC, a team that is always discussed as being one of the favorites in Major League Soccer to win MLS Cup, it gives them a different profile. It escalates and elevates the profile of this club from being a contender to, hey, this is now at a level where we can talk Inter Miami, we can talk LAFC, we can talk Messi on one side, Son on the other side. We have our superstar and the player that we can build around. Having said that, they've tried to do that in the past. They've tried to do it with Gareth Bale, and you could say that didn't quite work out, although, as I've mentioned in the past in this show, he scored one of the most important goals in LAFC history to get that MLS Cup into a penalty kick shootout, which eventually they won. And they also tried with Olivier Giroud, and that did not work. So somewhere in between, I think, is Son. I still think that he probably has a good couple of years in him, and in doing that, that's where I think he elevates the profile of LAFC. As in terms, you asked Don the question of legacy there for Son. If you asked one manager specifically in the Premier League as to who they think was the most dangerous player against their team, and it may just be my observation bias, but I have to imagine Pep Guardiola says, thank the Lord this guy is going somewhere else. Because every time that Spurs was playing, seemingly the Spurs were playing against Manchester City, even when Manchester City were at their best, it was Son that in the counterattack was killing Manchester City. And that's the image that I have of Son in the Premier League. Him, time and time again, killing Manchester City and Pep Guardiola and always being a pain in the backside.
Yeah, there'll be a lot more talk about all the latest moves in the transfer window and players who are moving on over on our YouTube channel on ESPN FC. It's that time of the day when we bring you Stump Stevie.
Oh, boy. I don't think I've done one of these, Stevie, with you.
It's my first time too, LA.
All right.
Yeah, Son Hutchison will be joining
Have a
us as well.
background and everything. This is
Look at this.
amazing.
All right. Three
Production value.
questions for Stevie Nicol. Number one. On March 13th, 1993, Don and Stevie both scored in the same game. Ooh. However, Stevie's was an own goal. Who was the opponent?
This for Stevie?
It's for Stevie first.
Okay.
And he can maybe phone a friend who also scored on that day if he so needs to.
Oh, Middlesbrough. Is it Middlesbrough?
The mighty Middlesbrough.
Oh, by the way, let me tell you something. What a goal this was.
The own goal?
I went back to watch it.
What a goal this is.
The own goal.
I loved my own goalkeeper, David James, who just happens to be 16 foot tall.
Under pressure from John Hendry.
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. I just drew a blank and lobbed JMO.
Nice stuff. Do you remember it, Don?
I remember it.
I can remember my goal.
Amazing goal. Of course he does.
I can't remember I can't remember bailing Stevie out. I can't remember that bit.
Actually, you did win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the best time to score an own goal.
Yeah.
You get away with it.
Yeah.
Because people go, it doesn't
That's
matter
fair.
because you won the game.
And Graham Souness was your manager returning to Middlesbrough as well. That was good. I went to see. Yeah.
Who was you?
Nice stuff. Okay.
I remember
stuff.
it well.
1 point. All right. Don Hutchison played for 9 teams in his career.
Oof.
Can you name them?
Hartlepool, Liverpool, Everton, Sheffield United, West Ham United.
What about that jacket?
The belter, isn't it?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
They were all the rage at the time, Ali.
Oh, man.
Did you play for Luton?
Yeah.
Yep.
How many's that I've got?
So you're missing 3.
I'm missing 3. That's not bad, by the way.
No, it's
You're
not.
doing really well,
Tell you what.
Stevie. Yeah, find it, Stevie. Crouch in the position where you find the answers.
Birmingham?
No.
No.
Oh,
Portsmouth?
lower more.
No.
No.
Villa?
No.
He's gonna name every team now.
What part of the country?
Let's stay in the Midlands.
In the Midlands?
Yeah.
Coventry?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
there
you've
you
got
go.
2 more.
Right, give me a clue.
Well, think more of where he's from.
Sunderland?
Yep.
We've got 1 to go.
1 to go.
Tell you what,
Go on,
I'm
Stevie.
impressed with myself.
Go
by the
on,
way.
Stevie.
Don't know anybody else.
Crouch in the position and get it.
The ground you might least likely want to visit as a
Oh, I know.
opposing fan or as a player.
I know this.
Millwall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm made up.
I love that
Well
Ali
done,
even knew that from
Stevie.
that description. All right. Alejandro Moreno
Ooh.
played for 6 teams in MLS.
Oh,
You lost to 2 of them in the MLS Cup final. Can you name the other 4?
oh, the other 4. Well, Chivas USA,
Yeah.
Columbus Crew.
Yeah.
Handsome young man there, Ali.
I was bringing it. See that hair done? Flowing.
Seen it.
Colorado, no.
No. 9?
No, you never went out there.
No, I did not.
Oh dear. Give me a clue.
Houston Dynamo used to be this team. We had to
Oh,
move.
San Jose, yeah.
Yeah, there you
Right.
go.
Right, I
Come
need,
on.
so it's 1 more.
There is one more.
Who was the manager?
Peter Novak.
Chicago.
No.
Oh, DC.
No.
Oh, Philadelphia.
Yay!
Hey, what happened by the other day, by the way?
All right.
You can't stump me today. Hey.
Okay. I don't know how this one's going to go. I feel like you might know. I'd be just as surprised if you do or don't.
Okay.
Same with you, Stevie. Don, I'm not sure. The Fantastic Four: First Steps came out in theatres last week. It's the latest Marvel movie. Can you name any of the characters? Not the actors, the
No.
characters.
I'm out.
Stretch Armstrong. Is that not one?
No.
It's not. His name is not Stretch Armstrong. Good Lord. Well, I know the rock guy in Spanish is La Mole de Piedra, but I don't know it in English.
Oh,
La
well,
Mole
that
de
helps.
Piedra. Fireboy or something like that.
Don, can you help them?
Nah, I mean, when Ali mentioned Stretch Armstrong, the only thing I can say, Ali, is do you know Stretch Armstrong's dog? What was his dog's name?
Not in the Fantastic Four, okay? Mr. Fantastic is one of
Fetch
them.
Armstrong.
Oh, that's Stretch Armstrong.
Invisible Woman.
All right, okay.
Couldn't
Where's
see her
he?
though.
Where?
The Human Torch.
Okay.
And The Thing.
The thing, well, see, the thing is La Mole de Piedra in Spanish.
The thing is.
Just saying, that's the name of. Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right,
I'll take
all right.
that.
The
Yeah.
thing, was that not the Addams family?
Also.
The thing.
Gets around. Career's still going strong. Go see it in theatres near
Well,
you.
where's he gone?
Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Don's back. He's been to some camp in France, as I understand it.
Camp. What, kids camp?
We'll talk about that later. Yep.
I got to tell you, Don's hair prior to the vacation was all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's slicked back, it's beautifully done, and then there's a tan as well that is going with it. That is not overly done. It's a nice controlled tan. Gorgeous, Don. You're looking great today.
Looking absolutely
remember?
fabulous.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you.
You remember Dickie Davis?
Vicky,
He used to have the Marlin right up the middle of the White Street.
the money
Don's
pit.
got the White Street.
Looking good, Don. Okay.
I'm keeping it. I'm rocking it.
First question is for you, Don. Would you still say Liverpool are favourites for the Premier League, despite having half their side that's never played with each other? Wouldn't Arsenal be favourites at this point?
No. You'd have to say Liverpool. On top of what they've done last season, they've just signed Ekitike, Florian Wirtz, have replaced their fullbacks. They've not really lost anyone. I still think Luis Diaz was a very, very good player to lose. But I understand obviously he wants to move. But Gakpo is going to play in that position, or Ekitike might play on the left-hand side. If they sign Isak, I mean, it's pretty much game over. Arsenal are trying. They're getting closer. But City will come back again this season. And then depending on what happens at Newcastle, if Isak stays and they add Sesko or one other, then you like to think Newcastle might try and challenge the top three. I think they'll be in competition with Chelsea, but as far as who's favourites right here, right now, it has to be Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, Stevie's been absolutely seething, to be honest, Don, that Liverpool aren't going for a centre-back before Alexander Isak.
Well, they might sign Mark Gay. I mean, I was listening to a report the other day talking about PSR, and he said Liverpool could easily sign Alexander Isak and still have something like £250 million to spend because of what they've done in the Champions League. They've obviously won the Premier League. They've just signed a £600 million deal with Adidas. So in terms of like having money to spend, they are cash rich.
Okay, this is the second question. That was my own little one that I wanted to throw in because we didn't get to it in the show.
Right.
Okay, Newcastle got rejected by most attacking targets they've pursued. Should they consider asking Liverpool to include Darwin Núñez in the Alexander Isak deal?
Oh yes, 100%. 100%.
You just won the Isak deal.
Yeah,
Done.
he wants Darwin Núñez. Gone, didn't he?
Yes, please.
Would you be against Darwin Núñez as a Magpie, Don?
No, he'll come good. Just some players, Kay, when you go to the likes of Real Madrid's or Barcelona's or Man United's, Liverpool's, sometimes the shirt can weigh heavy and you can be a really, really good player and it just doesn't happen. You go back to his debut and he got sent off. I think he's the type of guy that'll go somewhere like to Napoli or he'll go to Atletico Madrid or he might go to Newcastle and he'll come good because he's emotional. You know, when you look at him in front of goal, it's almost like his mind is racing 100 million miles an hour and his heart rate's the same. And when he gets older, he'll slow down a little bit. That's what someone needs to teach him. Do all the running you want and you've got pace to burn and go and take players on. But once you get inside the 18-yard box, you've got to be ice cold and you've got to slow down. That's what the best strikers do. And I think he'll come good. I can see him coming good somewhere because he's too good of a player, but not on the form and not in the way that the season panned out last season because he didn't get much game time. He lost his confidence. But I still think, genuinely, I honestly think there's a player in there. I would take him at Newcastle for sure, definitely, and hope and pray that Eddie Howe can get the best out of him.
Okay. Who do you think has a chance to have a breakthrough season in the Premier League?
Except for Don. Don seems like the guy who wants to answer this.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, that's
so
definitely a
too.
Don
Don's
question.
good
What do you mean,
at
team, or do you mean team or player?
Yeah, it's an open-ended question. You decide.
Well, I'm hoping one of the three that come up stays up. So I'm hoping it's going to be my former side, Sunderland, because we've seen too many times the three that comes up normally goes back down. But breakthrough young players? I mean, there's so many at Palace, but they've sort of broke through last season. Wharton, I'm stunned no one's gone in for Adam Wharton, by the way. We talk about these £100 million players. There's loads at Brighton. Belieber, I think he'll be the next £100 million player. So
Yeah,
maybe he's a year too late. So, yeah, Belieber.
That's a good shout, I believe. Yeah, good shout, Don.
I don't want to modify the question in any way, but I just wanted to add sort of a variety to it, a side note to it. Comeback player, Phil Foden,
I think.
disappeared all of last season.
Yeah.
And he was indeed among the best, if not the best player the year before. And how can this fall be so steep and so quick? maybe there's a case to be made for the rise to be just as quick and just as steep going in the other way.
Okay, nice stuff. Ale, this one for sure for you.
Okay.
Biggest impact football-wise? De Paul at Inter Miami, Son at LAFC, or Muller at Vancouver?
Anything that has to do with Major League Soccer, not just because of Lionel Messi, it has to do with Inter Miami. And I think the decision to bring Rodrigo de Paul, football-wise, makes the most impact for this team, because not only does it free up Lionel Messi, which we assume he was going to free to do whatever he wanted anyways, but it also frees up Sergio Busquets. It removes some of the defensive responsibilities from Sergio Busquets. It solidifies the midfield, which was an area that you could play through whenever you played against Inter Miami. And then you can also have another player in Rodrigo de Paul who can handle being the pace setter for the team, who can play a ball forward, who can look to combine. It doesn't all fall on the shoulders of Sergio Busquets. So it solidifies the midfield, which then creates a better platform for Lionel Messi, and it gives this team far more balance than they did before. I think it's Inter Miami.
Nice. Where has Don been? This is from Dan Summertan. Is he taking the mantle of Vacation King from Shaka?
Wow.
Oh, I think he's got a long way to go yet.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I went to France. It was a summer camp, a Euro camp. So basically, I stayed in a wooden lodge, and everything was just in this sort of in this little area. And there was every sport you can imagine. So there was indoor swimming, outdoor swimming. There was football. There was table tennis. There was tennis. There was archery. There was Nerf gun fighting. There was paddle boats. They
What
even
gun
had a
fighting?
buckaroo
Nerf gun.
contest.
What's that?
Oh my goodness.
With the
Nerf
foam,
gun like little
foam,
kids.
The foam bullets.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then
Fun,
I made the
Foam.
mistake. And then I made the mistake, of having 3 or 4 gin and tonics too many, and I entered the buckaroo contest.
Hang
The
on.
bull thing, the
hang
riding
on.
bull.
Do we have footage of that? Oh,
No, there's only one winner on those
no,
things.
No. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. You cannot hang on with the other hand. You gotta keep that hand off, Don. Oh no.
Hold on a minute, did that bull actually
So the
move
record,
yet? Was that bull
honestly,
moving?
Stevie, the record was just over a minute. 16 seconds I lasted. I come last.
Yeah, I can't say anything, Don.
Embarrassing.
I tried one as well in New Orleans. I lasted about the same time as you.
Is that because you had 4 gin and tonics on you, or?
Well, I definitely had more than 4 gin and tonics,
guys.
but I guess it would have thrown me anyway.
What's worse, Ale, Jan and the fish or Don and the bull?
No, Jan and the fish. Jan and the fish.
Yeah, Don's was a bit of a slow death, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well.
Wasn't that slow?
well,
15 seconds.
Never said.
Jan's sprint wasn't all that quicker.
No, it's true.
I was never set. I was never set from the off. And I was never comfortable from the off.
No, you
is
look
a bit
great.
like-
Fighting it.
Oh, we're beginning to go. And here you cheated because you hung on to the ball
was
with the
gone.
other hand. Hey, he gone.
Bit like Newcastle summer so far, Don.
Wow.
So, honestly, that is worse. That's
Hey,
Newcastle
was that
summer right
Isak in
there.
the background?
Is
There he is, that's where he is, Ali.
Yeah, is that
They
what he's
found
doing?
him. Yeah, they found him. He was in the background.
Did he set the record for 1 minute on the bull while
could've
Don
done.
failed
Yeah.
miserably?
Oh,
Could've done.
Don. Don't ever change. Thank you
That
so
was
much.
Isak. That was Isak there when Eddie Howe rang him.
Thank you so much for sending in your questions, everybody. We will be back tomorrow to do it all over again.